Hello, everybody. Welcome to Smart Grasp, Explore, and Win. Greetings for the day. Let's get started with today's topic. Class 8, Chapter 6, Squares and Square Root. Now we are going to discuss the concept of this chapter today. So in this concept, first let's discuss about the squares part. Under the square part, we have 7 subtopics. Let's discuss one by one. Squares. Squares meaning is n square, where n is any number. Where n is any number. N square meaning is n into n. We are supposed to multiply the number with the same number. So for example, if it is 4 square, then it means 4 into 4, which is 16. Similarly, 7 square means 49, because 7 sevens are 49. 8 square is 64. 25 square is 625, and it goes on. The number 16, 49, 64, 625 are the answers which we got it after squaring these numbers. The 4, 7, 8, 25 squares gives us this result. So square of a number is multiplying a number by itself. So this is about the square of a number. Now, perfect square. Perfect square are a number which are the numbers that comes in the square table, like 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, and it goes on. So we will get these numbers as the answer when we square a particular number. For example, we will get 1 when we square 1. We will get 4 when we will be squaring 2. Similarly, we will get 9, 16, everything when we square 3, 4, and it goes on. Therefore, these numbers are called perfect square numbers. And these are the numbers where we are performing square operation to obtain the perfect squares. Now let's know about the units digit of a number. Here we are going to focus on the digits, unit digit. So we already knew that the digits in the mathematics are 0 to 9. So we have a perfect square number. So I'm just writing as perfect number here, and squares. So considering a number that is ending with 0, if we square that number, then the perfect square number has the unit digit as 0. Similarly, when we square a number ending with 1, then the answer will have the unit digit as 1. Let's focus on some examples as well. Here I am just focusing the unit digit of the perfect square number. So in example, 10 square is 100. 11 square equal to 121. So the number ending with 0, when we square it, we will have the answer's unit digit as 0. The number ending with 1, when we square it, we will have the answer's unit digit as 1. So same way, a number ending with 2, when we square it, we will have the unit digit as 4. Example, 12 square equal to 144. So here the number is ending with 2, and when we square it, we will have the answer's unit digit as 4. A number ending with 3, when we square it, we will have the unit digit of the answer as 9. For example, 13 square is 169. A number ending with 4, when it is squared, we will have the unit digit as 6. Example, 4 square, which is equal to 16. We can look into another example as well, 14 square, which is equal to 196. Now, a number ending with 5, when we square it, we will have the unit digit of the answer as 5. For example, 5 square, which is 25. Now, on squaring a number whose unit digit is 6, we will have the answer's unit digit as 6 only. So for example, 6 square equal to 36. Moving on to the next digit, 7. A number ending with 7, if we square it, we will have the unit digit of the answer as 9. For example, 7 square is 49. Moving on to the next digit, 8. So any number whose unit digit is 8, if we square it, we will have the unit digit of the answer is 4. For example, 8 square equal to 64. Same way, the last digit 9. So any number ending with 9, if we square it, we will have the unit digit of the answer as 1. For example, 9 square equal to 81. So we have covered all the digits. Now 0, 1, 4, 9, 6, 5 are the unit digits that are possible to be a perfect square number. So if the unit digit of any number which has 0, 1, 4, 9, 6 or 5, then there is a possibility that it can be a perfect square number. So here when I say like 0, it implicitly means even number of 0. Even number of 0 in the sense 1000 cannot be a perfect square number, however 100 and 10,000 are perfect square number, because squaring a number is multiplying a number by itself again. So hence we represent it with the power of 2, which is an even number. Hence we are multiplying two numbers, which is also an even number. Therefore a number should end with even number of zeros to be a perfect square number. For example, 100 is a perfect square number because 10 tens are 100. Similarly, 10,000 is a perfect square number because 100 into 100 is 10,000. However, 1000 cannot be a perfect square number because it ends with 3 zeros. The number of zeros in 1000 is an odd number because we have 3 zeros. 3 is an odd number. However, in 100 and 10,000, we have even number of zeros. Therefore, they can be a perfect square number, but 1000 cannot be a perfect square number. Now the next topic is square table. Here a chart of perfect squares from 1 to 30 is displayed. This is the square table. It is just the 1 1s are 1, 2 2s are 4, 3 3s are 9, 4 4s are 16, 5 5s are 25. So it is mentioned like 5 square 25, 6 square 36, 7 square 49, 8 square 64, and it goes on. It is advisable to know in fingertip till 30 square so that it helps in lots and lots of calculation. So a student is expected to be in a position to answer the 17 square is equal to 289 in a fraction of second. Next, we are going to discuss about the formula that comes under the square topic. So the first formula is sum of first n odd numbers equal to n square. So it is one of the very important formula. In order to find the sum of first n odd numbers, n is the number of terms, we can use this formula. For example, 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11 plus 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Therefore n is 7. We need the sum of this first n odd terms. Instead of adding it, we can just write n square. The n is 7, so I am just writing 7 square, which is equal to 49. Here we have 7 terms, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So 7 square, the answer is 49. If we try to sum it up normally also, we will get the same answer. So let's try. 1 plus 3 4, 4 plus 5 9, 9 plus 7 16, 16 plus 9 plus 11, which is 36. 36 plus 13 is 49. So the same answer. Instead, in short, we can just write 7 square and write the final answer as 49. This is only for first n odd numbers. Now, moving on to the second formula, the numbers between n square and n plus 1 the whole square are 2n. So for example, we will take the n as 5. So 5 square and 5 plus 1 the whole square. So the number of numbers between these two numbers are 2n. 5 square is 25 and 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 square is 36. So the number of numbers between 25 and 36 can be written as 2n. So here 2 into n will be 5. So 2 into 5 is 10. Therefore, there are 10 numbers between this 25 and 36. We can verify it by writing the numbers between these. I'm just writing n square 5 square, and plus 1 the whole square is 6 square. So the number of numbers between 25 and 36 are 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34 and 35. If we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 numbers. Instead of counting these, we can use this formula directly, as n square is 5 square and n plus 1 the whole square. So the 2n gives the number of numbers between the two numbers. Here 25 and 36 is very easy to count. If at all there is a very large number, we can use this formula to solve easily. Now the third formula, which is everybody's favorite and well-known formula, it's an identity, a plus b the whole square. So the questions will be asked like calculate 11 square, which is 10 plus 1 the whole square, because 10 plus 1 is 11, the square is same. On expanding this identity, we will have a square plus b square plus 2ab. So I'm just expanding this bracket with the same identity. A square is 10 square plus b square is 1 square plus 2 into 10 into 1, because a is 10, b is 1. Now 10 square is 100 plus 1 square is 1 plus 2 into 10 is 20, 21s are 20. On adding, we will get 121. However, if we calculate 11 square directly also, we will get 121. But sometimes in the question it is asked to find the squares using identity only. And here 11 square is a very lesser number, but for a very higher number, this identity will be very much useful. The next topic which we are going to discuss is Pythagoras triplet. That means the three set of numbers will be in the form of 2m, m square minus 1, m square plus 1. In these three forms, certain numbers or certain triplet will be there. Those are called Pythagoras triplet. The relation between these triplet is sum of two numbers gives the third number, that is 2m plus m square minus 1 gives us the third number, which is m square plus 1. Let's discuss this with an example, so that we will be in a better position to understand how we can implement these in sums. So let me take an example of 6. This 6 can represent any form, either it can be 2m or m square minus 1 or m square plus 1. We have to identify that by trial or error method only. So let me try it with 2m. So if 2m equal to 6, then m equal to 3. So it is a possible situation. Therefore this is possible. Now if I try this 6 with the other format, imagining like let this formats will be representing 6, that is m square minus 1 equal to 6. When this minus 1 comes this side, it becomes plus 1, therefore m square equal to 7. 7 is not a perfect square number, therefore this is not possible. The same way for m square plus 1. So I'm just equating m square plus 1 with 6. When this plus 1 comes this side, it becomes minus, therefore m square equal to 5. 5 is also not a perfect square number, therefore this is also not possible. So the one of the member which we have taken is 6, that represents the form, or that is in the form of 2m. Since we knew the value of m, we can substitute the value of m in the other two forms to calculate the other values. So m square minus 1 equal to 3 square minus 1, which is 9 minus 1 equal to 8. And the other number would be m square plus 1 equal to 3 square plus 1 equal to 9 plus 1, which is equal to 10. Therefore 6, 8 and 10 forms the Pythagoras triplet. So like this way we can calculate the Pythagoras triplet. They will be giving one of the member and will ask us to find the other two members, or they can give us 3 members and ask us to verify whether these 3 numbers forms an Pythagoras triplet. Now we are going to discuss about the last concept of squares topic, which is properties. Some interesting and important properties of squares we will discuss now. So the first one is 2, 3, 7, 8 and odd number of zeros. If any number ending with or has the unit place with these digits, then it is not a perfect square for sure. So we will relate it with few examples. Example 88, 47, 23, 22, odd number of zeros, we can write 1000, that is 1 2 3. 3 is an odd number. If any number ending with 8 7 3 2 or odd number of zeros, then it is not a perfect square number. You can try taking square root for these numbers, you will not get a perfect answer. Now moving on to the next property, squares of an even number, it is always even. Similarly, squares of an odd number is always odd. We can relate it with an example. 4 square, which is 16, 5 square, which is 25. So 4 is an even number, the square of the even number is an even number, which is 16. The square of 5 is 25. 5 is also an odd number, 25 is also an odd number. Now, the third property, square of a proper fraction is always less than the fraction. That is, if you take a proper fraction and do a square to it, the answer will be always less than the original proper fraction. So we will relate it with an example. Let me take a proper fraction 2 by 3. The square of this fraction is 4 by 9. So by this property we can say that 4 by 9 is less than the original fraction, which is 2 by 3. We can prove this also. So we will take 2 by 3 and 4 by 9. On taking LCM we will get 9. So I'm just multiplying by 3 the both numerator and denominator. The answer is 6 by 9 and 4 by 9. Now it is clear that 6 by 9 is greater than 4 by 9, meaning that 2 by 3 is greater than 4 by 9. Hence the square of the proper fraction is always less than the original fraction. Always the original fraction will be the greater one than the square of its own. Now moving on to the next property, property 4. Sum of digits of a perfect square is 1, 4, 7 or 9. Any perfect square number, if you take and if you just sum it up the digits, you will get 1, 4, 7 or 9. So let's try with few examples. 144, 1 plus 4 plus 4 equal to 9. Same, let's try with another perfect square number. 121, which is 1 plus 2 plus 1 equal to 4. Next, let's try with 25. 2 plus 5 equal to 7. And we will try with 100. 1 plus 0 plus 0, which is equal to 1. 144, 121, 25, 100 are perfect square numbers. So if we sum it up the digits, we are just getting 9471. It falls within this category. This property is applicable to all the perfect squares. Now moving on to the last property, all perfect squares are in any one of the form. So if you consider any perfect square, it will just fall under this format only. Let's relate it with a few examples. 25 is equal to 5 into a, which is 5 into 5. So it is in the form of 5a. It is a multiple of 5. We will consider 36. 36 is equal to 4 into a, which is 4 into 9. It is a multiple of 4. Let's consider another perfect square, 9, which is in the form 3a, that is 3 into 3, multiple of 3. The same way, we will take 49. This can be written as 4 into 12 plus 1. So it is in the form 4a plus 1, that is 4 into 12, 48 plus 1 is 49. Next, we will consider the another example, 121. This is equal to 5 into 24 plus 1, that is equal to 5a plus 1. Next, we will take 64, that is equal to 5 into 13 minus 1, which is in the format 5a minus 1. We will take one last example, 16, which is equal to 3 into 5, 15 plus 1. So it is in the form 3a plus 1. From this we can conclude that any perfect square number will be in this form. You can try and check with the other perfect squares also. So with this we are completing the concepts of squares part. Next let's move on to the square root. Now let's discuss about the topic that comes under square roots. So first, square root of a number. We have to take a square root of a number. Square root of n. This square root is the symbol for taking square root, like plus minus. The symbol for square root is this one. So if we find this symbol over any number, we are supposed to take square root of that particular number. Now let's look into some example. Square root of 25 equal to 5, because 5 5s are 25. Same way, square root of 36 equal to 6, because 6 6 are 36. But when we try square root of 50, this 50 is not a perfect square number, not a perfect square, so we will not get a exact value. Instead we will have the answer in decimal. However, we got the whole number for the other examples. Now 5 square is 25, 6 square is 36, square root of 25 is 5, square root of 36 is 6. So this is the key point that we have to note as a difference between the square and square root. Now let's look into the next topic, units digit. Let's focus on the units digit of a number for which we are going to take square root. So let's consider we are taking a square root for a number which has the unit digit 5. Then we will have the unit digit of the answer as 5. The same way, when we take a square root for a number ending with 6, we will have the answer ending with 4 or ending with 6. When we take a square root of a number whose unit digit is 4, we will get the answer with the unit digit 2 or we will get it with 8. Now when we take a square root of a number which has the unit digit 9, we will get the unit digit of the answer as 3 or 7. And now when the units digit and tens place digit are 0, that is when we have the even number of zeros, while we take the square root, the units place, the answer of the units place will be 0, because any number ending with even number of zeros can only be a perfect square number. Now the last case, when we take the square root of a number ending with 1, we will have the answer's unit digit as 1 or 9. Now let's dig into few examples. So example, square root of 25 equal to 5. Here the unit digit is 5 in both the case. Square root of 36 is 6 and square root of 16 equal to 4. Square root of 64 equal to 8. Square root of 4 equal to 2. So example for this case, square root of 49 equal to 7. Square root of 9 equal to 3. And now even number of zeros, right? So I'm just taking 100. Square root of 100 equal to 10. The same way, square root of 10,000 equal to 100. And the last, square root of 81 equal to 9. Square root of 121 equal to 11, which has the unit digit 1 in both the sides. This is not only for 2-digit or 3-digit or number. It can be any number of digits for any perfect square. If you take the square root ending with these kind of digits, you will have the answers unit digit correspondingly. So this is with the units digit of a square root. Now we know what is a square root of a number. There are various methods to calculate the square root of a number. One of the method is repeated subtraction. So let's look into repeated subtraction. How to take a square root of a number by repeated subtraction. Let's take an example, square root of 81. In order to find the square root of 81, we can calculate by repeated subtraction. So we have to start with 81 minus 1, which is equal to 80. I'm just subtracting the numbers repeatedly with the odd numbers. So 80 minus 3, which is equal to 77. So 77 minus 5 equal to 72. Now 72 minus 7 equal to 65. 65 minus 9 equal to 56. 56 minus 11 equal to 45. 45 minus 13 equal to 32. 32 minus 15 equal to 17. 17 minus 17 equal to 0. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 steps. Therefore, the answer is 9. Square root of 81 equal to 9, which we already knew. So we need not cross verify it. Here we have just subtracted the numbers repeatedly with the list of first few odd numbers till we get the answer 0. So that is the procedure for repeated subtraction. Now the next method is prime factorization, which is a very important and most frequently used method. So let's look into it, how we can find a square root of a number by prime factorization. Let's take the example of square root of 144. So we will do the prime factorization. We already knew how to do a prime factorization. We have studied that in our lower grades. We can divide this number with any prime number. It can be 2, 3 or 5, any numbers. So I'm just starting with 2. If I'm dividing it with 2, I'll get 72. Again I'm using 2. So 2 3s are 6, 6 are 12, so 36. Next I'm using 3. 3 12s are. Next 2 6 are. Then 3 2s are. Now 2 1s are. So till we get 1, we have to do a repeated division by prime factorization. Now let's write all the products together, which is 2 into 2 into 3 into 2 into 3 into 2. Now we have to write one number for a pair. That is, for two same numbers, we will replace it with one number. So for these two 2's, I am writing 1 2. And for this 2 and this 2, I am just writing one more 2. And for this 3 and this 3, I am just writing 3. 2 2's are 4, 4 3's are 12. Therefore, the answer is 12. We already knew that 12 square is 144. Therefore, the square root of 144 is 12. Here, it is 12 square. Since it is a square, it is represented with the power 2. That's why here also we are substituting one value, one number for every pair. For every two numbers, we have to substitute one number. Then only we can find the square root answer. This method is very, very, very important, and it is used in many places. Now let's look into the other method, square root division. This method is used to calculate the square root when we need to find the square root of a larger number. Since prime factorization for a larger number will take more time, square root division method is preferred. Now let's look into the square root division. Square root of 9216. So we will take 9216. I'm just inserting a comma before 16 because we need to insert comma in this direction for each pair. So two numbers together we will separate it with comma. Square root or square both related with 2. So two numbers has to be separated for dividing it. Now I have to introduce a divisor here, the same number I have to use it in the quotient. Now I have 92. If I use 8, 8 8s are would be 64, which is a little far from 92. So if I try 9, 9 9s are will be 81. So I can use 81. On subtracting, we will get 11. Now I am just bringing the next pair down. Here we will handle everything with 2 digits together, a pair together. So I am just bringing the next pair 16 down. So we will have 1116. Now divisor for this step is being introduced by doubling the quotient. We have the quotient as 9. On doubling the 9, we will get 18. That is 9 plus 9 equal to 18. Quotient, we have just doubled it here. Now I have to put a digit here. The same number has to be used in the quotient. Since the number is ending with 6, I can use either 4 or 6. That is 184 into 4 will be 736, which is little far from 1116. So I'm trying 186 into 6, which is 1116. So I can use 6. Therefore the remainder is 0. The main key point to be noted while introducing divisor is the units digit of the number. Whatever number we are introducing as the unit digit, we are supposed to multiply the entire divisor by the same number. Here I have introduced 6. So I'm just multiplying 186 into 6. If I have introduced 4, I should have multiplied the whole divisor into 4 for the division process. So the divisor and quotient will be same. The second time divisor is just the double of the quotient. Now the answer is 96. Therefore square root of 9216 is 96. Since here we have an even number of digits, we got 2 pairs. But if we got an odd number of digits, one digit will be without any pair. Let's look into that example as well. Square root of 625. We are supposed to introduce comma in this direction, so that I'm just inserting comma before 25. Now the 6 is alone without a pair, but that's fine. We can just proceed as normal square root division. Now I have to introduce a divisor which becomes the quotient as well. So I'm just trying with 2. Since 2 2s are 4, that is somewhat near to 6. So we will get the remainder as 2. Now I am just bringing down the next pair together, 225. For the new divisor, I am just doubling the quotient. 2 plus 2 is 4. Now here I will introduce the digit with which the entire divisor is multiplied to proceed further. So I'm just using 5 because 225 ends with 5. So 45 5s are 225. Therefore the remainder is 0. Hence the square root of 625 equal to 25. While we do the second level of division or third level of division, we have to focus the units digit of the dividend. Since it is 5 here, I have used 5. Square root of any number ending with 5, we will get the answer unit digit as 5 only. So I have introduced 45 here. The same case for the first example. Square root of any number ending with 6 will have the unit digit as 4 or 6. So I have tried with 184 as well as 186. Since 186 matches, we just went with 186. So this is about the square root division. This method is also very important because this is used to find the square root for a larger number. Now let's look into the square root division of a decimal number. It is just same as the natural number, provided we will have the decimal point in the quotient as well. Now let's discuss with an example. Square root of 23.04. So for time being, let's forget that there is a decimal point in between. 2304 taking the square root division. I'm just inserting comma between 3 and 0 because we will be inserting comma in this direction. Now I have to introduce a divisor. The same number has to be used as a quotient as well. So if I take 5 5s are 25, which is greater than 23. So I'm just going to 4 4s are 16. On subtracting, we will get the remainder 7. Now let's bring the next pair down. Since we have crossed the decimal point, I'm just keeping the decimal point in the quotient as well, because the decimal point is between 3 and 0 in the equation. We have just crossed the decimal point and brought the second pair down. Now on doubling the quotient, 4 plus 4 is 8. So we have to introduce a digit here. The same number has to be used in the quotient as well. This 704 ends with 4. If we take the square root of any number ending with 4, we will have the answer's unit digit as 2 or 8. Therefore, 82 2s are 164. 88 8s are 704. So let's go with 8. So 8, even the quotient is 8. 704, the remainder is 0. Therefore, the answer is 4.8. Now let's look into the another example where we will have odd number of digits. Square root of 5.29. 529. So let me put the comma between 5 and 2 because we will be inserting comma in this direction. So 5 is left alone. Now let's use 2 because 2 2s are 4. On subtracting, we will have 1. Now we are just crossing the decimal point and bringing the next pair down. So let's put a decimal point in the quotient as well. Now on doubling the quotient, 2 plus 2 is 4. Now we have to introduce a digit here. The same digit has to be used in the quotient as well. If we take the square root of any number ending with 9, we will get the answer's unit digit as 3 or 7. So we can try 43 or 47. When I try 43 3s are 129. Therefore the answer is 0. Hence square root of 5.29 equal to 2.3. And that's about the square root division, which is an important method. The next concept is making perfect square. They will give a number which is not a perfect square. Then they will ask us what number should be added or subtracted to make it a perfect square number. So here I have taken an example of 3250, which is not a perfect square number, which we need to convert to a perfect square number by addition or subtracting certain numbers. So let's find what we have to do. For that, we need to do the square root division. We already knew how to do square root division. 3250, I'm just inserting comma before 5 because we will be inserting comma in this direction only. I have introduced the divisor 5 because 5 5s are 25, which is somewhat near to 32. The remainder is 7. I'm just bringing the next pair down. So 750. On doubling the quotient, we will get 10. Now I have to introduce a new digit with which the complete divisor is multiplied. So I'm just introducing 7 so that 107 into 7 is 749, which is nearest to 750. Therefore the remainder is 1. We will be getting remainder because the given number is not a perfect square number. So let's find what has to be added to make it as a perfect square number. So in the quotient we have 57. So 57 square is equal to 3249. It is just simple because we have the remainder 1. So I have just subtracted the remainder. The next number to the quotient after 57, we have 58 in our number system. So 58 square is 3364. So in the square table, when we compare 57 square, we will get 3249. 58 square, we will get 3364. Our question is 3250. So the number which is a perfect square number after 3250 is 3364. So I'm just subtracting 3364 minus 3250, which is 114. Therefore 114 should be added to 3250 to make it as a perfect square number, because we already knew that the next perfect square number which is greater than 3250 is 3364. So we need to make the 3250 to 3364. In order to do that, we need to add 114 to 3250. Now if at all they have asked what should be subtracted, this is quite simple. We can just subtract the remainder so that we will not get any reminders. So when we subtract 3250 minus 1, 1 is the remainder, that is equal to 3249. Therefore 1 should be subtracted from 3250 to make it as a perfect square number. Now let's see how we can make a perfect square by doing some multiplication or division. So to calculate that, we need to do prime factorization. However, we are doing square root division for addition and subtraction. For multiplication or division operation, we are supposed to do prime factorization. We already knew how to do a prime factorization. So for 3250, I have done prime factorization here and I have listed out the products. So let us check what should be multiplied to 3250 in order to make it as a perfect square number. So the products of 3250 are 5 into 5 into 5 into 2 into 13. Now this 5 and 5 makes a pair, so this is okay. Now this 5 needs a 5 to be a pair. Now this 2 also needs a pair and this 13 is also in need of a pair. So we need 5 into 2 into 13 more so that everything is in pair and makes the question to a perfect square number. 5 into 2 into 13 is 130. Therefore 130 should be multiplied to 3250. Hence, if at all they have asked what should be multiplied to 3250 in order to make it as a perfect square number, we have to multiply the numbers which don't have any pairs. The numbers which are left out without pairs has to be multiplied so that it makes pair and makes the question as a perfect square number. Therefore 3250 into 130 gives us 4,22,500, which is a perfect square number. In the case of division, we will just remove the numbers which don't have any pair. In the multiplication, we are inserting the numbers, we are multiplying it to give some pair. Here we will remove it. This 5 into 5 has pair, okay. Now this 5 into 2 into 13, which is 130, doesn't have pair. We will divide the question by 130. 130 should be divided. Therefore 3250 divided by 130 gives us 25, which is the perfect square number. So the difference between multiplication and division is, in multiplication we will give pair, we will be multiplying the numbers which are left out without pair. In the division, we will divide the numbers which are left out without pair. Now let's discuss about the last concept of this chapter, number of digits when we take a square root. That is, the question will be like, how many digits will be there if we take a square root? What will be the number of digits in the answer? So if the number of digits in the question is even, then we have to use n by 2 formula. If it is odd, we have to use n plus 1 by 2. So let's take an example, 582169. So we will take the square root of this and we will find how many digits does the answer has. 1 2 3 4 5 6, 6, n equal to 6, which is even. Therefore number of digits is equal to 6 by 2, which is equal to 3. Therefore we will have 3 digits in the answer. Actually the square root of this number is 763. 1 2 3, so we will have 3 digits in the answer. The same way we will try for the odd number of digits. Square root of 625, we already knew that the answer is 25, but let's try with this formula. N equal to 3, so we have to use odd formula. Therefore number of digits equal to n plus 1 by 2, that is 4 by 2 is 2, which is 2 digit, 1 to 2 digits. So it is a way to find the number of digits that we will have in the answer after taking a square root of a perfect square number. With this, we have completed all the concepts of squares and square root. Thank you all for watching Smart. Grasp, explore and win. Stay tuned for more videos.